The cake sat in the center of my dining table, 3 layers of chocolate with cream cheese frosting. I picked it up that morning, $72 for something I've been looking forward to sharing with my family. My sister Valerie arrived 20 minutes late with her 10-year-old son, Brandon. No apology, just a distracted wave as she checked her phone. "Happy birthday," she said without looking up. "Brandon, give Aunt Melissa her card." Brandon handed me an envelope already focused on the gaming console in my living room. "Can I play?" "After cake," I said. He rolled his eyes and flopped onto my couch. My parents arrived next, then my brother Kevin with his wife. By 4 o'clock, we were gathered in my dining room, the cake taking center stage. "Okay, presents first or cake first?" Valerie asked. "Let's do presents," my mother suggested. I opened cards and gift certificates while Brandon sat kicking his chair legs, clearly bored. "Can we do cake now?" he asked loudly, interrupting my thank you to Kevin. "Yes, honey, cake time," Valerie said. I started placing candles while my mother found matches. Brandon stood on his chair, leaning over the table. "Sit down, Brandon," I said gently. "I want a corner piece. Those have more frosting." "We'll make sure you get one," Valerie assured him, not bothering to address the fact that he was still standing on my chair. My mother lit the candles and everyone started singing. I was smiling, about to blow them out, when Brandon suddenly groaned loudly. "This is so boring. Why do we have to do this?" "Brandon," my father said sharply, "that's rude." "But it is boring. It's not even my party. Why do I have to be here?" Valerie laughed nervously. "He's just tired. We had soccer practice this morning. Brandon, honey, just give Aunt Melissa 2 more minutes." I blew out the candles while Brandon made exaggerated sighing sounds. My mother started to remove the candles from the cake, setting them on a napkin. I picked up the cake knife to make the first cut. "I want my piece now," Brandon announced, reaching across the table. "Wait just a second," I said. "Let me cut." "You're taking too long." He lunged forward, and his hand caught the edge of the cake stand. The entire cake tipped, sliding off the stand and landing frosting side down on my dining table with a wet splat. Frosting splattered across the tablecloth, onto the floor, and across the front of my dress. The beautiful cake I'd spent $72 on was now a destroyed mess of chocolate crumbs and smeared frosting. Everyone froze. Brandon stared at the wreckage and shrugged. "Oops. Brandon." My mother gasped. I stood there, frosting dripping from the edge of my table, watching chocolate smear across my white tablecloth. My hands were shaking, but I kept them at my sides. "He didn't mean to," Valerie said quickly. "He's just tired." "It was an accident, right, Brandon?" "I guess," he muttered, already backing away from the table. "Can I go play video games now?" I carefully set down the cake knife. My brother Kevin started to say something, but I held up my hand. "I need to change my dress," I said quietly. "Excuse me." I walked to my bedroom, closed the door, and changed out of my frosting-stained dress. I picked up my purse, walked back through the dining room, and headed for my front door. "Melissa, where are you going?" my mother asked. "Out." "But you can't leave your own birthday party." Brandon was right. This is boring. I closed the door and drove to a coffee shop across town, where I sat with a latte and lemon cake for 2 hours. When I got home around 7, everyone was gone. The dining room was cleaned up, but chocolate stains remained on my tablecloth. Saturday, I processed what happened, not just the cake, but the pattern. Brandon's behavior had escalated for years, and Valerie never corrected him. Every gathering involved disruptions, tantrums, and demands for attention, and every time, Valerie made excuses. I'd been supporting that behavior in ways she didn't know about. Sunday, I opened my filing cabinet and pulled out a folder labeled Brandon Camp. Inside were 5 years of registration confirmations and payment receipts for Pinewood Athletic Academy. Brandon had attended their elite soccer camp every summer since age 5, 6 weeks of professional coaching, tournament play, and college scouts. The camp cost $4,200 per session. I paid for all of it. Valerie thought Brandon had been awarded a scholarship based on his soccer skills. I'd let her believe that because I knew she couldn't afford it on her salary as a dental hygienist. Brandon's father wasn't in the picture, and Valerie struggled with rent and car payments. When Brandon showed interest in soccer at age 5, I quietly contacted the camp, set up an anonymous sponsorship, and let Valerie think her son was just that talented. $21,000 over 5 years. Brandon loved that camp. He'd spent the past 3 months talking about it nonstop, excited about this summer session starting in June. He'd be in the advanced 11 to 12 age group this year, the level where college scouts from Division I schools showed up to watch. Monday morning at 8, I called the camp's administrative office. Pinewood Athletic Academy, this is Jennifer speaking. Hey Jennifer, this is Melissa Torres. I need to discuss a registration for the upcoming summer session. Of course. What's the camper's name? Brandon Mitchell. He's registered for the June session. I heard typing. Yes, I have him here. He's in our advanced soccer program, fully paid. Is there a problem? I need to cancel his registration. Silence. Then, cancel? Miss Torres, you're listed as his sponsor. Are you aware that we're only 4 weeks from the start of the session? Our cancellation policy states that. I understand. I'm not requesting a refund. I just need the registration canceled. More typing. May I ask the reason? If there's an issue with housing or scheduling, we might be able to accommodate. It's a personal decision. The registration needs to be canceled effective immediately. I see. I'll need to process this and send confirmation to the parent or guardian on file. That's listed as Valerie Mitchell. That's correct. Ms. Torres, I should mention that this spot is highly sought after. Once I cancel, it will be offered to someone on our wait list. If you change your mind, we likely won't have availability to re-register Brandon. I understand. Please proceed with the cancellation. I'll process this today. Ms. Mitchell should receive a call from our office by this afternoon. I thanked her and hung up. Then I went to work, attended meetings, reviewed budgets, and answered emails like it was any other Monday. My phone rang at 2:30. Valerie's name appeared on the screen. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Hello. What did you do? Her voice was high-pitched, panicked. I just got a call from Brandon's camp. They said his registration is canceled. They said his sponsor withdrew him. What sponsor? Melissa, what is happening? Exactly what they said. I canceled Brandon's registration. Wait, what? You're his sponsor? What does that even mean? It means I've been paying for his camp every summer for the past 5 years. $4,200 per year. The scholarship you thought he had doesn't exist. I created it. Silence. I could hear her breathing, sharp and fast. You've been paying? Her voice cracked. $21,000? Melissa, why would you do that without telling me? Because I wanted to give Brandon opportunities you couldn't afford. I wanted to support him. Then why are you canceling now? He's been talking about this camp for months. This is the year scouts will be watching. You can't just. I can actually. It's my money and I'm choosing not to spend it on someone who destroyed my birthday cake and didn't apologize. Someone whose mother made excuses for him instead of teaching him basic respect. This is about Saturday? Valerie's panic was shifting to anger. You're punishing the 10-year-old because of an accident. It wasn't an accident. He lunged for the cake after being told to wait, and even if it had been an accident, he showed no remorse. He shrugged and asked to play video games. He's 10, he doesn't understand. He understands perfectly. He understands that his mother will excuse any behavior, that there are never consequences, and that other people's feelings don't matter as long as he gets what he wants. Saturday was just the most recent example. So you're taking away his entire summer, his dream of playing college soccer, because of cake. I'm not taking away anything. I'm simply choosing not to fund it anymore. You're his mother. If the camp is important, you'll find a way to pay for it. I can't afford $4,000. You know I can't. My rent is $2,000 a month. I have car payments. Brandon needs school clothes. Then Brandon will have a different summer. He can join the local rec league. That's what most kids do. The local rec league. Valerie's voice rose. Melissa, he's been training at Pinewood for 5 years. That's where he's made friends, where he's developed his skills. You're going to rip that away from him because your feelings got hurt. My feelings aren't hurt, Valerie. My boundaries have been clarified. I've spent 5 years and $21,000 supporting Brandon, and in return, I've watched you raise him to be entitled and disrespectful. Saturday showed me exactly what my investment has created. This is cruel. You're being cruel to a child. What's cruel is never teaching your child that actions have consequences. What's cruel is letting him think the world revolves around him. I'm not being cruel. I'm setting a boundary that should have been set years ago. You can't do this. You're his aunt. Family doesn't abandon family over stupid mistakes. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm stopping a pattern of enabling bad behavior. The camp registration is canceled. That decision is final. Melissa, please. I'm begging you. He'll be devastated. Let me talk to him. Let him apologize. This isn't about an apology. This is about years of watching you excuse behavior that keeps getting worse. Brandon needs to learn that his actions affect other people. You need to learn that you can't rely on others to fix problems you're unwilling to address. Valerie was crying now. What am I supposed to tell him? He's been counting down the days. Tell him the truth. Tell him that his scholarship was never a scholarship, that his aunt paid for camp every year, and that his behavior on Saturday had consequences. Use it as a teaching moment. I hate you right now. That's your choice. But the registration stays canceled. I hung up before she could respond. The rest of the week, my phone was silent. No calls from Valerie, no texts from my mother. I assumed they were all discussing how unreasonable I was being, how harsh, how unforgiving. Friday evening, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Valerie and Brandon standing on my porch. Brandon's eyes were red, like he'd been crying recently. Can we come in? Valerie asked. I stepped aside. We sat in my living room, the same room where Brandon had played video games after destroying my birthday cake. He sat between Valerie and me, hands folded in his lap, looking at the floor. Brandon has something to say, Valerie prompted. He took a shaky breath. I'm sorry I ruined your cake. Mom told me you were paying for my camp, and I didn't know. I feel really bad that I was mean to you. Okay, I said. Valerie leaned forward. Melissa, I've spent this week really thinking about what you said. You were right. I make excuses for him constantly. I let things slide because I'm tired or stressed or because correcting him feels like one more battle I don't have energy for. But you're right. He's been getting worse, not better. Okay, I repeated. I can't afford the camp. I've looked at every option, and there's no way. But I'm enrolling him in the rec league, and I've signed him up with a behavior counselor. We had our first session yesterday. Brandon glanced up at me. Mom says I have to earn things now. Like actually earn them by being respectful and not bratty. That sounds like a good plan, I said. Valerie's eyes filled with tears. Is there any way you'd reconsider? If Brandon really works on his behavior, if I actually parent him properly, would you sponsor him again next summer? I looked at Brandon, this 10-year-old kid who'd been given everything without learning gratitude, who'd been excused from every consequence. Then I looked at Valerie, who had enabled every bit of it while I silently funded opportunities she couldn't provide. No, I said quietly. I won't be sponsoring camp anymore. Not next summer, not ever. Valerie nodded slowly, wiping her eyes. I understand. But I continued, if Brandon completes this summer in the rec league with good behavior, if he maintains that behavior through the school year, and if he shows genuine understanding of why his actions have consequences, I'll contribute $1,000 toward next year's camp. Not pay for it entirely, but help. The rest is up to you to figure out. Brandon looked up, hope flickering across his face. Really? Really. But it's not a promise, it's a possibility. You have to actually change, not just apologize and go back to the same behavior. I will, he said quickly. I'll be good, I promise. We'll see, I said. Change takes time. After they left, I sat in my quiet living room, thinking about boundaries and consequences, about the difference between supporting someone and enabling them. My birthday cake was gone, my $72 wasted, but something more important had been saved. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let someone face the natural consequences of their choices. Sometimes love means saying no, even when it hurts. Brandon would have a different summer than he planned, maybe a better one, where he learned that respect and gratitude matter more than talent and entitlement. Maybe not. But either way, it wouldn't be my responsibility to fund lessons his mother should have taught him years ago. I finally stopped enabling, and that was worth more than any camp registration.